FitWorkz Hybrid Training Gym. If you have questions, by all means ask them. We're more than happy to help you out. That's why we do this on a daily basis. If you're watching live on Periscope, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and post your question below. Bree, who's standing in for Tim, you can get Tim working out over there. Tim's over there in the red shirt working out. So Bree is filling in on camera today. If you have questions on Periscope, post them, we'll answer them live. If you have questions and you're watching this on YouTube or one of the social media outlets, hey, we'd love to hear from you too. Ask your question, and all likelihood it will show up in a later video or we'll answer you right then and there on social media. You can follow us, and by all means share and follow at EatByColor, hashtag EatByColor, fitworkz.com/eatbycolor. So we got this question today in regards, why am I so hungry post-workout, or what's actually going on? Well, there's a couple things. One, you want to make sure you stay plenty hydrated. We're going to tie this back in when we cover water in a couple minutes here. Two, a lot of times our blood sugar levels are going to dip a little bit, or can dip as a result of intense training. So sometimes we notice not only are we craving food, but we're craving food more intensely than we do normally, and maybe we're craving something a little bit higher in carbs. And sometimes that's just a kind of a knock from the body saying, hey, replace that glycogen that we just used in that intense weight training session, or hey, replace that glucose that we used up where we're doing our interval cardio, or some combination thereof. So it's, it's common, it's normal. Many find that as they get in better shape, as their conditioning improves, they don't get as dramatic a response to training as they did when they started out. So the take-home point, if you're really hungry post-workout, include some carbs. Now, does that mean you always have to include carbs? And what about our clients that we don't have consume carbs post-workout? Again, we're talking in the case of I'm really hungry. Take-home point, go ahead and have your carbs. Justifying a reason to eat chocolate. Why do I crave chocolate? Believe it or not, there may be a magnesium component, but the bigger component is we associate consumption of chocolate with feeling good. So believe it or not, eating chocolate oftentimes produces a dopamine response in the brain. So the reason you're craving the chocolate, if you're under a lot of stress, if you're female and it's that time of the month and you're cycling, part of the reason you're craving the chocolate is to maybe that funky, not so good feeling, stressed out, wore out feeling. Having the chocolate, it's kind of, the human body is amazing from the standpoint of just like craving the higher sugar foods post-workout, craving the chocolate when we're stressed out, the body is offsetting kind of a not so well feeling with a good feeling. And the body says, hey, go get that hunk of chocolate. It associates the texture, the smell, the taste, the sugar, everything that comes with chocolate with feeling better. And the reason we feel better is we get a dopamine dumped by the brain. Thank you, brain. So that's why we're eating chocolate. Take home point. If you want to feel good, or you're realizing you're stressed out, have the chocolate. And by the way, not just having the chocolate and satisfying the craving, two things are going to happen. One, you're more likely to go and eat something else to try and replace the chocolate, only to come back and have the chocolate anyways. And two, I looked at one study that actually said they took the chemicals found in chocolate, encapsulated them, and had somebody have those. Cravings don't go away because you don't get that dopamine response that comes with the smell, the taste, the texture, the actual chewing, the eating, consuming of the chocolate. So if you want to have the chocolate, take home point, you're under a lot of stress, you want to feel good, take home point, go ahead and just have the chocolate and move on. Okay, there's nothing, unless you're eating chocolate by the pound, there's nothing wrong with it. Occasionally, even if that occasion happens to be every night after dinner, if you have a small piece or two of chocolate, don't sweat the small stuff. Have the chocolate, life goes on. Again, any questions, by all means, ask them. Bree will be more than happy to read them, as I can't see the phone or the video side of the phone. Can I drink too much water? I got this today by Facebook. Theoretically, yes, you can drink too much water. And one of the things why is that true? One of the things that happens, it changes electrolytes. Electrolytes play a major role with a number of bodily functions, including muscle contraction and including cardiac muscle or cardiac tissue as a muscle. So in all likelihood, you're not going to over-consume water. I mean, you would have to very, very intentionally, deliberately consume a significant amount of water. For most people, if you shoot to get a gallon of water a day, plus or minus maybe a cup, you're going to be just fine. You're not going to be at risk for not having too much water. And also keep in mind, we often confuse being thirsty, and again, there's that really cool, smart human body saying, hey, go get something, when really it's telling you, hey, we're dehydrated, go get some water. Sometimes we end up eating when really we need to satisfy thirst because the body's sensing maybe we're not being sufficiently hydrated. The other thing is hydration plays a role with everything. So all bodily functions, including it can play a role in metabolism, including whether or not you have a good workout or bad workout. If you're slightly dehydrated, it is going to impair your workout in the gym. So people chasing numbers, chasing progress in the gym, you could actually be doing a disservice by training dehydrated. For those of us that outright don't like weight training anyways, or don't like working out anyways, if you're dehydrated, you're making a miserable experience even more miserable. Take home point, shoot for a gallon of water a day. Don't skip the water, okay? I can share a story. Once upon a time, I went to speak to a college class. The topic of hydration came up, and I was in a not so happy, not so friendly mood. As one of the students in the class ended up being a longtime employee of mine, and he pointed this out and still points it out to this day. He loves telling this story. I had a class disinterested in the material, even though it was their field of study. They weren't really engaging, and I finally did get a question, and I said, well, if your urine's the color of her shirt, and I pointed at a girl that had a bright yellow shirt on, and I said, it's lunchtime, you're not drinking enough water. So again, the color of the fluid you pass is going to tell a lot in regards to whether or not you're hydrated or not. My program sucks. What do I do about it? Get a new program. If you're hiring a trainer, you're working with a trainer, you're not happy, it's boring, get a new program. Ask for a new program. I had a client from the city of Chicago today that I do a lot of online training with. She's like, hey, this program's not doing it for me. Great, we'll make a new one. We'll keep your goals in mind, your results in mind, and we'll write you something new. So by all means, if you're not happy with your program, go get a new one. Bree, you can go help kill it and go help them.